So, you want to buy a laundromat. On paper, it is the safest, boring business in America. There is no inventory to spoil and no chef to walk out. The customers do all the labor themselves, the machines collect the money, and you do not even have to be in the building. The industry's own trade association claims that 95% of laundromats survive their first 5 years. Passive income with the soap dispenser. That is the sales pitch. Here is the plumbing. As much as a quarter of every dollar a laundromat earns leaves the building through a pipe in the floor. 25 cents on the dollar. Down the drain, literally, before you have paid the rent, the loan, or yourself. By the end of this video, you will know why the machines are the least important thing on the invoice, which single number decides whether an owner clears $30,000 a year or $150, and how one signature has quietly ended more laundromats than every broken washer in America combined. If following money through pipes sounds like your kind of entertainment, hit subscribe. It is free, and there is a new business on the table every week. Start with the price of admission because this business has a cheap-looking front door and an expensive hallway. There are 2 ways in, and they punish different mistakes. Door 1, you buy an existing store. A running laundromat in America typically changes hands for $200,000 to $600,000, priced at roughly 2 to 5 times its yearly net income. The older the machines and the sleepier the neighborhood, the closer you get to the bottom of that range. Door 2, you build one. The renovation is the small part. A normal retail space needs drain troughs cut into the concrete, upsized sewer lines, a commercial water heater, and often a bigger gas line, and that infrastructure work alone can run $25,000 to $75,000 before a single machine shows up. Then come the machines themselves. A standard commercial front loader costs $3,000 to $7,000. The big capacity ones run $10,000 to $15,000, and dryers land between $6,000 and $10,000. Fill a store with them, and the fleet is a $100,000 to $300,000 purchase on its own, and then the city shows up with its handout. In many communities, the water authority charges a one-time connection fee for every washer you install, $1,200 per top loader in some places, $2,700 per front loader in others, or a flat $2,500 per machine, no matter the size. One California owner reported that those city fees helped push the cost of a planned new store well past $800,000. Add it all up, and a new build lands anywhere from a few $100,000 to well past $1 million. And not one sock has been through a wash yet. Now for the costs nobody prints in the brochure. The first is the one from the top of this video. Utilities. Water, sewer, gas, and electricity together eat 15 to 30% of a laundromat's gross revenue, and the older the equipment, the higher that share climbs. In a busy store, that means a water bill of $1,000 to $5,000 a month, with an electric bill of $2,000 to $6,000 stacked on top. The second hidden cost is the clock inside the fleet. A commercial washer is built for roughly 10 to 15 years of service, call it 5,000 cycles, and dryers stretch to 15 or 20. So every laundromat for sale is quietly somewhere on a countdown toward a 6-figure re-equipment bill, and the seller knows exactly where on that countdown it sits. Maintenance alone runs about $500 to $1,500 per machine per year as the fleet ages. Every machine in the store earns by the load and ages by the cycle. The third hidden cost is the one that actually ends laundromats, and it is not a machine at all. We will get there. First, follow the money, because where it really comes from is not where most buyers think. Nobody in this business is paid for clean clothes. Look at what physically happens. The city sells you water at roughly 1 to 4 cents per gallon, depending on where you live. Your customer cannot buy it at that price because what she needs is not water. It is 60 gallons of it, hot, spinning, and on her block. That is the entire product. A laundromat is closer to a parking meter than to a shop. The city's water on one side, the gas company's heat underneath, and your machine in the middle, charging retail prices for a wholesale flow. Follow one customer on a Sunday morning. She loads a week of laundry into a 35-pound front loader, and 60 to 70 gallons of water run through that drum. At the combined water and sewer rates American cities charge, That water cost you somewhere between 60 cents and $3, depending on the city. Add the gas that heated it and the electricity that spun it, and delivering her cycle cost you roughly $2, maybe $3 in an expensive market. She pays $4 to $8 for it. Then she rolls her cart to your dryers, which run the same trick with cheaper ingredients, air and a gas flame. And here is why she showed up at all. Roughly 20 million American households, about 1 in 6, have no washing machine of their own, according to the Federal Housing Survey. Around 6 in 10 laundromat customers are renters. You are not selling a luxury service. You are selling the missing appliance in every apartment within walking distance, which means the demand was built into the zip code before you ever signed anything. The machines do not create a single customer. The buildings around them do. So say the thesis out loud. A laundromat is a utility company wearing a retail costume. You buy water by the gallon and sell it by the drum. The machines are just the meters. That raises the question that actually decides your income. If every store resells the same water through the same machines, why does one owner clear $30,000 a year while another clears $150,000? And here is the part most people miss. The number is called turns per day. How many times each machine runs in 24 hours. Across the industry, an average store turns its machines about 3 times a day, and a strong one manages 5 or more. Your rent does not change when the drums spin more often. Neither do the connection fees, the insurance, or the loan payment. So a store that climbs from 3 turns to 4 has barely grown its costs. It has mostly grown its profit. Every trick the good operators use is really this one lever wearing different clothes. Swapping the coin slots for card and app payments. Stores that make that switch report revenue lifts of 17 to 22%, not least because nobody walks away hunting for quarters. Adding wash, dry, fold service and pickup and delivery. In urban markets, those services can carry 25 to 35% of a store's revenue, using the same machines and hours when they would have stood still. Longer opening hours, bigger machines, cleaner floors. All of it is turns. The whole model fits in one sentence. Machines times turns times price per load minus whatever leaves through the pipes. The rent never cares how often the drums spin. That is exactly why you should. Now run the costs against that model because the waterfall is steep. Start with 100 cents of gross revenue at the top. Utilities take 15 to 30 of them straight away. Rent, if you negotiated well, takes under 25, and keeping it under that line is one of the oldest rules of thumb in this trade. Then maintenance, insurance, card processing fees, an attendant for part of the day if you employ one, and the payment on everything you financed all take their bite. What is left at a well-run store is a net margin of 20 to 35%, and be careful with that word net, because in most quoted industry figures it lands before the owner's own loan payments are counted, not after. A tired store with old machines drinking expensive water under a lease signed in a hurry can grind towards zero without a single dramatic thing going wrong. A laundromat collects its money in quarters and pays its bills in thousands. Which brings us, finally, to that signature from the start of this video. Remember the connection fees, the trenches in the concrete, the upsized sewer line. Every dollar of that value is bolted into the floor. And most laundromat owners do not own their floor. They lease it. Look at the arithmetic of that. Counting the borrowed money, a laundromat commonly needs 7 to 10 years to pay back its full purchase and setup cost. If the landlord offers 5 years with no guaranteed renewal, the numbers have already spoken. Your payback period is longer than your legal right to exist in that spot. That is not an investment so much as a BET on a stranger's mood. And when the lease comes up, the leverage runs one way because a laundromat cannot move. The trade press documented an owner whose landlord raised the rent by more than 40% at renewal. Relocating was financially impossible, and within 18 months the store was sold at a loss. There are uglier versions still. In some leases, the owner pays water and sewer through the landlord, and if that landlord pockets the money instead of paying the city, the municipality shuts off the water and the business dies the same afternoon, current on every one of its own bills. Even the city government understands what is really being bought here. It never billed you for machines. It billed you, per washer, for the right to move water through that particular floor. The machines are yours forever, and they are bolted to a floor that never will be. Now step back, because two facts about this industry look like they cannot both be true. The trade association says 95% of laundromats survive their first 5 years, yet the researchers who track the store count have watched the number of American laundromats shrink year after year for 2 decades. Both are true, and the lease is the bridge between them. A laundromat almost never collapses the way a restaurant collapses, because the demand never leaves. The neighborhood still has no washing machines on Tuesday. What kills laundromats is the calendar. The lease expires, the block gets more expensive, the landlord looks at a tenant who cannot relocate and prices accordingly, or new buildings fill up with in-unit washers, and the zip code slowly stops needing you. A bakery on a bad corner can load its ovens onto a truck and try again a mile away. A laundromat is poured into the concrete. Laundromats rarely go broke. They get priced out. So the honest question, run one properly, and what do you actually take home? Industry surveys put a typical single store's gross revenue somewhere between $100,000 and $300,000 a year, with net margins of 20 to 35% when things are run well. That shakes out into 3 bands: a weak store with old machines, low turns, and a lease eating too much. Nets its owner maybe $20,000 to $40,000 a year and demands real hours in return. An average store with decent equipment, run semi-absentee, lands somewhere around $50,000 to $90,000. A strong store with card systems, wash, dry, fold, delivery routes, and 5 turns a day can clear well over $100,000. And that tier is where every passive income post on the internet comes from. Set those numbers against the $200,000 to $600,000 it took to buy and equip the place, and you are typically looking at 7 to 10 years to get it all back, financing included. It is real money behind a real moat. But this is not passive income. It is patient income. And the people who get genuinely rich in laundry keep learning the same lesson. In 2010, a phone company worker in Cincinnati named Dave Menz bought a rundown laundromat he found listed online for $85,000 after roughly 24 banks had turned him down. He fixed it, pushed the turns up, added wash, dry, fold, and delivery, and bought the next store with the first store's cash flow. Today, his 4 locations run about 250 machines and grows more than $2 million a year. At margins, he reports near 40%. Notice what he did not do. He never tried to squeeze store number 1 past its natural ceiling. The ceiling on one laundromat is the neighborhood around it, and the ceiling on an operator is how many neighborhoods they can serve. The first store buys you a job, the next 3 buy the job back. So pull everything through the ringer one last time. You are buying water at a few cents per gallon and selling it back at retail through machines that are really meters. The number that sets your income is turns per day, and the document that decides your survival is a lease on a floor you will never own. And before any of it reaches your pocket, up to a quarter of every dollar has already left through the drain. Whether 10 patient years of that trade beats leaving your money somewhere quieter, you decide. Which business should end up on the table next? Drop it in the comments. And if you want to be here when we take it apart, subscribe before you go.